us shortly, and we can go ahead and kick off without them. The first thing we need to do is approve the minutes from the last meeting. Have we had time to look over those?
I have, and so I move that we accept them as written.
Second. Okay, roll call. Melissa?
Yes.
Joe?
Yep.
Lisa?
Yes.
All in favor, none opposed?
And just a little follow-up from that, we, with your question at the last meeting pertaining to, notifying the chief. I did indicate in here where, we're making that happen.
I saw that, we're getting it
Yeah,
done.
and then also, Greg does, do a lot of the prayer breakfast, he does the, I guess, you can tell a little bit about that, Greg.
The prayer breakfast.
With their leadership, junior leadership,
Yep.
with their junior leadership program, sometimes their leadership, academy, as well as some of the breakfast things that they invite me to come and, either do invocation or some other things. So, we've had a good partnership, with
Great.
them, and, we definitely getting those materials together, to have a good welcome package.
You got it.
So,
That's great,
Thank you, Greg.
cause we do, that's a good connection for us to make.
The Trent is represented.
Woo! Well,
Yay.
especially with the new foreigners coming in,
Sure.
that a lot of them are one-car households,
That's a good idea.
we're gonna need that. Get them
Absolutely.
up to speed for transit the moment they arrive. Let's see, the next item of business is a free ride day request.
So, we received a request from Amanda Craigie with the Sebastian County Election Commission, stating that with the attention for the, mayor's candidate position, that she feels like there might be a runoff, and if that occurs, would we consider doing a free ride day for the election, on that runoff? And noting that we are providing a free ride day on November the 3rd, election day. So that matters, I said would need to come to the commission. We did invite her to the commission, but I don't believe
She's busy as all get out up
Is that
there. I do elections too,
Yeah,
and so
okay.
I'm sure she's very busy right now.
so we'll let that be at your discretion.
I think we should do it. I think that we haven't planned, we haven't set in stone what the one, we usually put one in December at some point anyway.
I think we've got those in there, but we can certainly add them.
Oh, just add it, or, you know, when we're planning, if we need to,
Sure.
we can substitute what would have been our normal December day too. Cause I am positive we're gonna have a runoff, because there's countless candidates for mayor, and there's far more than 3 for some of the other city offices too, so. I can't imagine a situation where we don't get a runoff on some of those. And I think that this one is, there's enough offices running and enough of it's getting enough attention. We may have enough riders that, you know, we wanna make sure and provide, I think.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the runoff, you know, we don't do them, but you know, when it's like the little sheriff's runoff that we had a while back, you know, the participation was low. I expect a little more participation on this one. And, yeah, I think it's worth doing. What do we think?
So moved.
Yeah, all right. We got a second?
Second. Roll call. Melissa?
Yes.
Joe?
Yep.
Lisa?
Yes.
Miriam?
Yes.
Angie?
Yeah.
All in favor, none opposed.
There's some knives back there if you wanna cut up your meat.
I can.
Oh, you put them?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
The next item, about opening a 30-day public hearing on a new comprehensive fare list.
So I'll give you a little overview on that. So our last comprehensive fare list was done in 2016. We're still operating on today, and that was through ordinance 4616. And it's a pretty, detailed listing of the fare rate schedule for the department, and it's worked and served us well. With Dumo, there's some opportunities for new incentives and passes and such. And so we felt like this would be a good time to try to come up with what we think would be adequate passes, adequate incentives to at least get the program started. It's not saying that can't be adjusted later on, and realizing this is something new to us. So we sat down and reviewed, quite a number of different agency, incentives that other agencies provide. And we kind of found some commonalities. It seemed like there were passes that some provided. And then there was also, fair capping that was provided as well. And there was a difference in the value of the passes versus the fair capping. And keeping in mind that, the passes is something you advance pay, so it's on the effort of the rider to actually pay that in advance. And so we're proposing, some new pass alternatives. One would be a day pass, another would be a weekly pass, in addition to the monthly pass that we already currently have. And, so that in itself, we're thinking there's the price for that. What we're recommending is $3.75 for a day pass, $12 for a weekly pass, and $35 for the monthly pass, which is what we currently have in our current rate pass. But for the fair capping, and a little bit different between fair passes, as we explained, is paid in advance. Fair capping is accrued as you use it. And the equity in that is that some people may not have the money to pay up front. So having a benefit, that accrues, maybe not as good as a monthly pass would be, or a pass would be, but a benefit that accrues, is a good thing for passengers that can't afford the monthly or the advanced fare. And so what we've done is we took a look at what other entities were doing, and we saw that there was kind of this theme of the fare capping for the month was about 30 to 36 times, what it was for the daily rate. So, and that fell in place with what we were thinking, even before we kind of started looking at this. We were thinking that sounded fair. So what we came up with was, for the month, a $45 cap, meaning nobody would pay more than $45 if they selected one of the fare media types that was available, that could allow us to track that, or on their benefit. That would be either a card, or wallet pay, or whatever you call it. And $15 for weekly, and then $5 for daily. So it really works out about 30 rides, at the $1.25. And so that seems to fall in place with at least 2 or 3 different other agencies that have UMO. And not every agency has UMO, so a lot of them provide passes. And so, we didn't have a whole lot to compare to, but what we did compare to seemed to kind of come in line with what our thinking was. And we feel like this would be a good place to start. And some of the things that we noticed that we don't have in place that others do is a youth pass, or a youth rate at 50 cents, per ride. That seems to be common in most all other transit agencies, but it's not in ours. So, a youth pass would be between the ages of 8 and 18, as far as youth, age range, for that benefit of the youth per ride at 50 cents. But we also included a youth pass, and, what else we incorporated in here that I didn't talk about. We did also include, reduced fare passes as well at a reduced rate, so we've incorporated that. So there is a buffet of different options that we're including there, but I don't think they're really, very far from what our current rates are. It just doesn't allow them, if you continue ridership, or if you advance pay on these things, it will give you some I think that's good. You know, some of the things that we wanna make sure of is that we keep our fair integrity in place, and that we don't, you know, lose a bunch of fair revenues also. Because what we're talking about here is, you know, there's a lot of discounts. So, I mean, that's gotta come at a cost, but when you think about our free ride days, we see a 40% increase in ridership. And so if we have incentives and packages out there that help people, ride and better manage their riding, we feel like it will increase ridership and make up for any losses that we, you know, provide in discounts. And we are, right on track with our, fair revenues. I do think, as much as we did want to take away the TAP program, it does seem to be up in our fair revenues, because there are others that are contributing to that. So.
Some nonprofits are
Right, are helping
offering.
out the church, churches, so, that's very helpful too. So I think we're streaming along okay in our fair revenues. I think the timing is right to introduce some new, incentives. We really don't know exactly how it will impact us. We can just forecast the best we can until we start seeing, you know, putting it in play and seeing what it'll do. Now, where we're at within the UMO process, we've ordered the equipment. So that's probably the most lengthy thing that we have to wait on is the equipment to arrive. And so right now, we're in discussions with them about, you know, could we look at, adopting this fair policy, and then, with that in place, with a 30-day public hearing, we can allow them to know what it is we anticipate, they can start building that in their back office, in the software for us. And then we can take it to the board and say, you know, is this adequate, you know, for board approval, is this adequate? And if they're okay with it, then, you know, at the point in time when they start, the equipment arrives, and we start installing the system, we would already have kind of an idea what our fair policy is gonna be, we can start incorporating that. And we did reach out to UMO, what we got from them was, look, this thing's all over the place. People do different fairs, different structures everywhere, but.
When I used UMO in Milwaukee though, I know that they had some very similar fare capping to this, because I used the fare capping when I was there, I used the daily and weekly ones, and so I know that they can incorporate at least the vast majority of this would be something that they were already very familiar and comfortable with doing from having done it other places. We're not out here blazing a new trail for this.
And so we're not suggesting to do away with cash. We
Oh, no,
know that
definitely
will
not.
be-
We are, too many unbanked.
That will
for
be,
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
people just
No,
want to do or have to do.
There's way too many unbanked people here for that.
But it will, we do believe it will reduce the amount of cash that's
Mhm.
used, which will reduce the amount of, time that we spend. Right now, we spend about 9 to 9.5 hours a week managing fairs, you know, county fairs, traffic fairs, whatever, incorporating those
9 hours per,
per week, yeah,
okay.
of staff time.
Of staff.
That this is gonna get installed, implemented, when do we think the time frame is for that to start?
Greg, did you get a feel from when they're ready to?
At the latest, it's probably gonna be October, at the latest. Is what we look at. You know, again, to this point, it's gonna take some time for us to get the equipment in. And then we're already working with other departments on, all the pieces that plays into this. So, you know, it's a partnership across all of our departments, as for IT, finance. And, so we already working, having those mini meetings to make sure we are on the same page and make this as seamless as possible. We're working with, marketing, PR, so we get ready to prepare the people in enough time. And so that's why it's important for us to start here
And that we still take cash will ease the rollout too, because
Yeah.
if it's hinky day one, well, we can just still keep on, it's
Right.
cash today.
Right.
But it's gonna help people being able to not have to remember to bring exact change of cash all the time. I mean, I've been caught out and realized I didn't happen to have cash money on, and I would've taken a bus, but I ended up taking an Uber because I didn't have cash. And, you know, just in the mornings, remembering to carry it isn't always the easiest.
And I know their brochure indicated that most systems are installed and running in 6 months. You know, and some less than that. So, and that's from the kickoff meeting, we've had the kickoff meeting, that was some time ago.
Yeah.
So, we feel like we're moving on track. I think getting this fair policy in place and underway, at least where we can open it up for public comments and then, possibly have those comments for consideration with the, board of directors when we do a new fair, ordinance or resolution. Then we would be set to go at the time that they're ready to install it, and there wouldn't be a lot of questions that, and tasks to overcome at that time. We wanna get this thing out there and working.
Yeah.
And I think what we're talking about here in the fair policy is the very basics of what UMO can do. I mean, we can always look at, expanding it to bike, bike and transit, different, things of that nature.
This will get us used to it and get it up and running before we start tweaking and adding.
Absolutely.
This is gonna get us a very modernized transportation, and it's far more in line with what the big
And I
cities
do
are doing.
think this is gonna give us, once it's in place and we see how it works, it's gonna give us some options that are more in line with our TAP program that we had to do away with. Now, it may be that it's more funded, privately or by others in the care providing industry, or it may be that we could get grants to fund it, possibly or something. But I think it will open up some opportunities that we don't have now, because we cannot track it per person. So I definitely think it's something we're gonna be able to build on as we go comprehensive.
I like,
Has the trip planning, with it as well.
I mean,
That's
and it is
nice
so
to know.
good.
Yeah.
The trip planning that comes with this is amazing. I can't wait. Oh, it's so much better. So much better. The fair cap that does the frequency version, I like a lot too, for the people that a monthly pass normally does not turn out to be budgetarily good for you, but something unexpected comes up where you're taking more rides in a month than usual. Like, my mom usually picks me up from work. I take the bus there and she picks me up. Say her car breaks down, well, suddenly this month, I'm gonna be riding both ways. A monthly pass would have been a better deal, but it's already halfway through the month. The fare cap would still rescue me, and I would still get a great deal. And, a lot of those little unplanned, oh, I suddenly got a job, I didn't expect to work this month, and, well, you're covered.
That's
This,
great explanation.
well, it is, you have sometimes some unexpected upticks in your rides. I've sat down and done the math before, do I ride enough to pay for a monthly pass? And, I don't, but, yeah, if there was a
And
sudden
one of the
uptick.
things that, this system does is you don't really have to think about that. When
No,
you
it just
put the-
does it.
When you put the card up there, it actually is going to give you the best benefit that you have available to you.
That's great. Those days where you unexpectedly discovered you made a bunch of stops today, this area got longer than you thought. You thought you needed to go to the revenue office, but now you also need to go down to the ID office, and sometimes it happens.
And one of the things that we're looking to kind of do is for demand response, 10 rides, 1 ride free.
And that's real cool, because there's not a lot of our benefits that apply real well to the demand response. Like, you can't do save by buying a pass for the demand response that way. This'll give them a little something too. That's neato.
And our tracking, like I said, has been very limited because, we don't have a system like that in place. So it makes it hard for, making decisions like this, where this will kind of
I noticed that the student pass still comes out even with the discounted kids fare. Cause I know like the future school all uses them, and I was like, well, is it still a savings to have the pass? Yes, it's still gonna work out. You're gonna end up getting, it's not as big a savings as it is now, but it's still worthwhile to have the pass if you're taking it to and from school every morning.
And it does encourage our youth to, start taking the bus, using the bus, getting familiar with it, and learning how to.
This youth discount, you say this is something that a lot of places are doing? Cause this is
Yeah.
not something we've been doing, is this
No,
Is this something that there's been a lot of feedback about?
No, I haven't noticed a lot of feedback about it, but
I don't see very many
as
kids
we-
on the bus when
yeah.
I'm on the bus. It may just be the hours and routes I ride.
and I'd have to go back and look at our survey, that, to maybe give us some indication as what our youth ridership is. But,
This would be
it is
documented.
something that
Yeah.
stood out.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, this would be documenting every rider as opposed to a survey.
Yeah,
People
this is
don't
gonna
respond.
catch a lot of,
Absolutely.
this is gonna catch a lot of statistics that we weren't able
And
to
that's
catch.
great for grant writing.
Oh, yeah. And it's good for planning too. I mean, when we're trying to figure out who needs what and what we need to focus on, sometimes having real statistics to work with is gonna get us a better picture.
So this is kind of an example of some of the different ones we looked at. We have Milwaukee County, and-
Yeah, that's the
and
one I
some of
took. It
these,
was great.
their actual base fare was
Yeah.
quite a bit higher than ours.
Yeah.
But then there's Washington Transit Authority, there's Jonesboro Transit, there's Little Rock Transit that we looked at. We, also looked at, Pottstown Area Rapid Transit System.
Where's that?
I'm not sure. Cause it didn't give a lot of information on.
I don't think I know that.
I'll let you look at it, see.
Pottstown.
Let's see if I can guess.
And then
What'd
Hot
you find?
Springs Transit, Pine Bluff Transit, and, Mount Vernon, Washington. So all of these were, entities that we looked at, to kind of gauge, are we in the right area? And I feel like we are.
Oh, no. P-A-R-T, Phil, where's Pottstown? I don't know, I'm not sure where that's right now. Am I making it up, or did we used to have?
Pennsylvania, I know I thought.
Pennsylvania?
Pottstown is in
Oh,
Pennsylvania,
okay.
but I was making sure, yeah, Pennsylvania.
Am I making it up, or did we used to have a UAFS 75-cent fare?
No, it's in there.
Is it in there?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see it in there, I must have just overlooked it. Alright, cause are we getting a lot of takers on that, do we now?
Sometimes, sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And we also included kind of a summary sheet in here, where there were kind of four attachments. One was the ordinance, another one was a summary of the fair pass and fair capping benefits and observations. Another one was proposed fair policy, and then the last one was the proposed comprehensive fair list. And that'll be more like what you see in the resolution that we.
Yeah. So it's just the big picture.
And we did include the one you were talking about.
This is the third one.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is, I just did not see it.
Some of the observations that we had, with our current fair pass, the 35-month pass, we've got, we sold 160 of them from January to June this year. So there's quite a few passes been sold. We served over 5,000 passenger trips, on the monthly fare, or monthly pass system that we use now. So, that's enough to tell you that it's widely used, and I think it will be more used once we.
And when it becomes easier with the just load it on your phone, on your app, or into your card, it's gonna be,
Sure. Should be utilized a lot.
everything that makes things just a little bit more convenient is gonna get used a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Exactly.
are we gonna do away with the bulk ticket deal that we do? I think we could do away with it with this, cause, you know, we're gonna have all of these capping options, all of these monthly options, and we're trying to reduce the cash, but we still take cash. I don't know that we need to sell physical tickets anymore with the bulk
Well, we
ticket
just
plan.
sell cards, right?
Yeah.
Just pack cards.
I know we, currently, like, Fort Smith schools, they buy it.
Do they? Okay, all right. This
Certain
is,
It
agencies.
is a very.
okay, so this is something I hadn't considered, all
I
right.
wouldn't,
Well, if I could suggest that,
Cause they probably cannot mess with
well,
loading up apps.
but we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe we keep it in place until we have a chance to evaluate.
Okay,
the
sounds
cars,
good.
And maybe
Sounds
that
good.
would be a good idea.
Yeah, I see this as a place we could
I think you're right.
cut a little hassle there eventually.
Well, I mean, yeah, eventually I would think that you could just give them, hey, here's your
Right.
lot of cards,
Yeah.
load them as
Yeah,
you see
figure it
fit,
out.
yeah.
And it does make it available easier for them to manage that as well.
Yeah, they can.
So, again, that, I tell you what, let us explore that.
Yeah, we can think about it, it's, you know, we needed it under the current system, but,
Yeah, it may not be necessary.
and the way a lot of folks use them too, that aren't the big institutions, the spare capping replaces that, because it was kind of your own way to make a fair cap, cause you get a couple extra out of the deal that way.
It's probably gonna be something that had to happen in phases.
Yeah.
Though the ability, of this fair system will allow us to hand out cards, but it's a case by case or an agency, kinda how they model. So a lot of times I know the schools gives students with their parents, tickets to get to meetings or events. Well, that wouldn't necessarily be a card situation because it's like maybe a one-time situation. But for agencies like DHS or other that pass out cards for continuing use, that method would work. It's just something that we have to phase out really about, this not only is it a physical card, but it's an app. And so by having an app, you have a code, they can give out a code, and then that can give you a certain amount of tickets or a certain amount of rides, trips. And so those are things that we can explore later on too.
Yeah, and I think there's a learning curve with this too, because it may be that we can print off QR tickets. or QR
That's too,
tickets.
yeah.
So, there's just things we're not that familiar with
Yeah.
yet until we get it in place, but we wanted to at least start out with a
Oh, yeah.
base model.
I think this looks real good to me as a starting point plan to go forward. Yeah, about the only thing in it that I question at all is if we need the discount for kids. But it's worth a try if other places are seeing such a strong use of it, that they keep it and we can pilot it and see how it goes.
It's not gonna hurt.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not a giant drop in revenue to do that discount.
And it might encourage you to use. the
Yeah, hop on
buses,
board.
but-
Or for parents to bring their kids in.
Yeah.
You start a tradition of using it,
Mm-hmm.
and it can grow, and that's the younger generation.
That is an option for them to, it is to introduce them to it. That model is common across agencies. Another reason, the way our timing is, it's not going to impact, ridership part of that. And so, but then you have to think about, which we have had instances where this has been the case, where a mother may have 4 or 5 kids, and
Okay.
you gotta see what the total,
You're right.
cost of that ride is, which is one trip, compared to several trips in that same day, so.
That is all.
something that-
Yeah, that's true, a big family, that could be a challenge.
So, Melissa, when you brought up the bulk tickets, we were thinking passes and stuff, when we created this, we did not put the bulk ticket price on here. The 32 tickets for $35, and then also when agencies buy 100 tickets or more, they get them for $1 a piece instead of $1.25. So if you vote on this, I would like to add that
Yes,
to
let's
this
amend
list.
that, to put that on the list, because we're gonna show this.
Because there is a value
This is
to
what,
it.
and this is what the, board of directors is gonna look at in their meeting. This is the part they're
So we need
reading,
to incorporate
and so, to have that put on there
So
is a
thank you
good
for
idea.
that. I'm sorry I missed it.
Oh, no, it's okay. That'll, yeah, we can add that to it, make sure that doesn't get missed. Doesn't look like we're trying to sneak that part by. I think, do we need to vote to open a hearing on this?
Yeah, I think so, and then, the formal approval, I think would be, come from the board of directors, but, maybe a motion of intent.
Okay.
To have an open, to have a comment, a public hearing? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's 30 days.
FTA lights for anything that involves fairs.
Well, it does, and I think the public will respond positively to these fairs, because these are, nothing is going up.
Right.
Everything is going down or staying the same.
And ultimately, I think that would.
And I think most people will ultimately see a savings with the fare capping.
So it would make you question whether a public hearing is required,
Well,
because it is.
It's better to have one and not need one than need one and not have one.
That's why.
But I can't imagine that there's gonna be that much pushback. There's gonna be some people who don't understand how the fare capping works, but once they figure it out, they're gonna be like, oh, this is a discount, this is gonna save us. The only people it's not saving is the people who ride very, very, very irregularly, like, this is the only ride you're taking, you're in town for today, you're taking one ride. But I think most people, it's gonna turn out to be a discount.
I motion for a 30-day public hearing for the company's.
All right.
Can we have a little brainstorming before that?
Sure.
My concern is that people aren't going to public hearings, and the people who this affects most will not be going to public hearings. Is there an alternative?
During that period, you can send in your comments, you send it by email or call.
Okay, so it's just,
It's
We'll post it.
it's the same as the ones that we do, like on the route changes and stuff like that.
okay,
You've seen it done before.
yes.
It's called a hearing, but you don't have to come
It's
to
not-
something.
it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, you don't have to come to something. You can come to
30
a
days of
hearing.
commentary.
Yeah, you don't
Okay,
have to.
so we advertise it, he goes on the website, and
Yeah.
then he puts it out on Granicus and stuff that we're accepting comments, and,
Yeah, just the concept that they can respond
Yes.
out of a meeting.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I second your motion.
Roll call, Melissa,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lissa? Yes. Marion?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
All in favor, none opposed.
All right, do we have any other business?
No other business with the board.
Commissioners, what do we got? Anything?
But we had a transportation
Yes,
resource
we did.
fair, and a handful of people came, but we got really good feedback, and we're gonna try to do more of them.
The
Joe was
Zoom,
there.
the Zoom one that I sent, that I
The Zoom was
sat in on was good. There was, I especially appreciated, there was some information about some other modes of travel that I was not very familiar with. There was a big part where the guy from the Area Agency on Aging Transportation participated, and they fit, I didn't know what they offer, and they offer a lot more than I thought. And there's a lot of things that, we may be the best choice on, and then there's a lot of things that, no, it turns out they may be a good choice that we can refer some folks to. It was really enlightening to learn what they were doing.
So was the Zoom attended better than the in-person? Same, the same, okay, all right, we're gonna get better.
What I've got for Commissioners Forum, we need to start putting a sign to give notice when a stop is gonna get discontinued. Like, I think about 2 weeks before a stop gets pulled up. If we put a sign on or next to it, this stop is gonna be discontinued in 2 weeks.
That's fine.
People need to know this, cause twice lately, the stops that I use frequently have been removed, which is fine, and when we tweak, we need to remove them. But it's a surprise when you get there, or you're planning to get off and you don't know you're pulling the string and this isn't for your stop anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Okay,
a-
we definitely get that done.
Yeah.
And why we're doing that is because we're trying to, with the GTFS component that FDA
Mhm.
is requiring us to do, general transit feed specification, I probably got that
Oh,
wrong.
you got that right.
But with that, there can be confusion with the geocoding,
Mhm.
is that our stops are really very close together.
They are. And the one closest to my house, the guy that's continued recently, is totally well served by one's a block on either side. It's not a problem that the stop was discontinued at all. And I'm probably the main one who's affected, period. Almost every ride come from that stop is probably me. But, you know, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone when their stop is going to evaporate. It was a surprise when the stop near her house evaporated, and it probably wasn't just me that rode there. You know, people just need to know that that one's going, so that when they plan their next rides, oh, this stop's not gonna be here in a couple of weeks.
So our next technology piece that we're looking at acquiring is gonna be the scheduling software, and it's a very huge piece. And it incorporates, both the demand response and the, fixed routes where we can have one reporting system. And that is where this GTFS has to be in place prior to acquiring that and setting it up. So yes, we are looking at a new scheduling software platform. The route shout that we're using now, actually, that piece will be replaced by UMO, but there is, the route shout itself has been sold to 3 different companies, so, over the past.
I don't know who
few
buys
years,
that broken
yeah.
thing, I'll tell you.
And so each time, you know, they're saying, okay, we're able to service this, but all in all, it's on bubble gum and shoestrings. And
Uh-huh.
we really need a system that has a platform that's, you know, that they're going to service for some time in the future, so that's why we're looking at, new scheduling software.
And the UMO's trip planning is just so much better. I spend a lot of time helping people plan their trips, and I would not have to with UMO, I'm pretty sure of it, because I can send you the link to Route Shout, but that's not gonna help you plan your trip. That's gonna find you the stop closest to where you are, but that's not gonna tell you any of the in-between parts, where UMO tells you every single step. It'll be like, you're gonna walk 547 feet to Jenny Land, you're gonna get on the Jenny Land bus at 18 after, you're gonna ride to the transit station at the top of the hour, you're gonna get on the Grand bus, you're gonna take it to the university, you're gonna walk 643 feet to your destination. It's
And that's what we work on.
pristine.
And what, yeah, as Greg said, with the GTFS, the new software we're looking at, when you open up your phone, you go to your map navigation feature, whether it's Apple or
Google.
or Google, whichever, it will now have Fort Smith Transit as
Oh, that's so
a
cool.
option on there, once we get that software in place.
And that'll help even the people who don't download the UMO app, who are just gonna hop on and cash in
Or
LA.
before they move here, or
Yeah.
before they visit, they
They
can
can make a
already do some planning and know what
Yeah.
it is. And to the deal, that's on me for the announcement for the stops thing. I would add that to my list.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
It's just the unfortunate part when we do any route adjustments, whatever, it's
Well,
three
they're on the
different.
fly.
Well, even if it's not on the fly, it's 3 different systems that has to change it to.
Yeah.
And so that's Route Match itself, our ABA system, as well as our software system. And so between the 3 of changing it to all merge together, which they don't, but to get as close as possible together. And then on top of that, try to remember, so that's on me, and I'll
You'll get
make
it,
sure I.
you'll get it, that's gonna be a big improvement, and I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough that we need to plan for it, you know, we
Yes,
have tweaks, it just happens. The, putting it on the Google and the Apple Maps is good too, cause when I was in LA, their transit app is not great, it could be much improved, and so I used the Google version where you pick the one that looks like a bus instead of the one that looks like
Yeah.
walking your car.
Yeah.
And it works better than their trip planning app. So I'm sure people will come used to trying that out. And it'll show an option, it'll make it show up as an option immediately there. When you're thinking about how am I gonna get someplace, if the little bus icon shows up and we show up and, and it says how long it takes to get there. Sometimes, okay, this may be a feasible option when you didn't know it was gonna be.
And we should be able to attach those links to our actual, like our app or our website. We'll be able to attach those things. So not
Okay.
only will they be able to do trip planning through Google or the
Yeah.
iOS system, but they'll also be able to see links that leads them to our
Feed them
information
into
for our-
that.
yeah.
And that's gonna be so much better. People will be able to, that's the main learning curve when people are intimidated by taking the bus, is having to try and figure out how to do it. And a system that is gonna make that trip planning planned for you. All that, that's gonna encourage a lot of riders. Because I have some people sometimes who, I have some that love me plan it, and then sometimes I have people that's just like, I just got scared and intimidated and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I was afraid. What they don't realize, I tell them, if you get on a stop, if you can get to a sign and stand there till a bus comes and get on a bus, any bus, the driver's gonna make sure that you get where you're going. You tell him, I am going here, he will find a way to make sure you get where you're headed. But people aren't prepared for that. They're not ready for that. They don't know that.
Fear the unknown.
They do, and it's like, no, it's gonna be okay. But if they can feel more confident, if they've easily planned it, they can see what their whole trip looks like.
And it's intuitive.
Yeah, yeah, because it's kind of hard when you first start writing to figure out like how the lines are gonna work and how the transfers are gonna work. And they make sense when you've been doing it a while. It's all a big circle and it all hits the transportation at the top of the hour. But if you don't know that, you don't know that. That was all I've got. Anybody else?
I
got
have a
anything?
curiosity
Yeah.
question. So, just curious. So when you change to UMO, it's gonna change the time, it's gonna shorten the time that it takes to pick up fares. It might be offset by the fact that more people eventually ride because it's easier. But that's just, how do you manage that? What do you do?
It didn't feel any faster to me when I've used those ones, because you're either, now you're dropping your money in a little box. With those, you're just like holding your phone up to the little screen or putting your card on the little screen. I don't think it's gonna be any faster, do y'all?
And come think of it, and it will make things.
Oh, really?
Maybe
I'm just not-
You have to count your
Yeah,
points.
I'm not a
Our
person.
routes are stretched pretty tight right now, it's because we try to get
So tight.
as much maximum coverage as we can
Yeah.
within the hour that we have.
Okay.
And so shortening that would be refreshing.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna be short enough to have any excess time.
Another thing you have to think is a lot of our riding population is elderly. And, the buses that we use now, they're kneeling, when they come to a stop. So there's a little bit of time required for the kneeling, a little bit of time required for the recovery of that.
Wow.
Prior to when they leave. And a little bit of, which works out pretty good because it's about the same amount of time that it takes a passenger to sit down and get comfortably seated. So that we don't take off while they're sitting. So there's an art to that, our drivers can share that with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so any chance that we get to, lessen that time is gonna give more time for those kinds of things.
So there's less stress on the driver
Yeah,
too.
you still have to wait for people with change or cash. The policy, the understanding is you should have your cash and stuff ready when you're ready.
People do not.
But it don't happen.
It
So,
doesn't, yeah.
It's the same thing with a card or with
Oh,
an
yeah.
app on a phone.
Oh,
You
yeah.
still have to.
Humans are gonna be humans. It's-
Lost in your purse.
So, yeah. You lost your phone in your car, so.
Yeah.
You gotta dig through 20 cards to get to the transit card, so it's still, yes, it should help, but it's still a possibility.
I don't think it's gonna speed us up that much on the speed of the ride. I think all all the speed improvements are outside of the ride with cash processing at home and here. But I don't think on the ride, I don't think we're gonna notice any net speed. I don't think that part moved faster in places I've seen it used. Or maybe it was just us, maybe we were inefficient. That's all we got, we've already picked a date, September 2nd. We checked for that, nobody had that. No, so yeah, September 2nd, same time, same channel. We are adjourned, I will see y'all in September. Woo! Knock everything over.
She's like, I'm out.
I'm trying to get the video shut off.
Oh, boy.